Are you driving conversation or just adding to the noise? It's a pretty binary, slightly provocative question, isn't it? It instantly forces you to pick a side, or at least take a hard look at what you're posting. And as we're about to discover, this is the exact kind of calculated tactic that separates the content that actually goes viral from the content that gets completely ignored in the feed. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating look under the hood of social media algorithms. Specifically, we're focusing on the mechanics behind why certain LinkedIn posts drive massive engagement, and how those exact same principles govern completely different platforms like YouTube. We're going to transform a real-world case study into a highly actionable playbook. We're breaking down the science of attention, structure, and credibility so you can understand exactly how this engagement actually works. To get us there, we've got a really clear roadmap for today. We'll start by decoding the viral hook, then move into the psychology of engagement, structuring for the scroll, and building instant credibility. After that, we'll translate these tactics to YouTube, and finally, look at the cost of hype. Section 1. Decoding the viral hook. Because those first few lines matter more than you think. Look, if you take away absolutely anything from this explainer today, it should be the critical importance of the first few lines of your text. On a platform like LinkedIn, the battle for attention is absolutely fierce, largely because your text truncates after just 2 or 3 lines with that little "see more" button. Those 2 lines are your only shot. Think about a bad hook, like, "I want to share my thoughts on I am." It's entirely self-centered, there's zero urgency, and frankly, it gives the reader no reason to stop scrolling. Now look at a good hook. I am experts already have 70% of what they need to become AI security engineers. This works beautifully because it states a bold claim and implies a very specific payoff. It creates immediate curiosity and tension all on its own. Moving to Section 2, the psychology of engagement. Let's look at the emotional engines driving these posts. You see, a good hook is just the surface layer. The real engine behind massive engagement is entirely emotional. The combination of fear plus reassurance is a phenomenally powerful cocktail. Let's use that identity and access management, or IAM, example again. IAM professionals are a huge established cohort on LinkedIn, and right now they're dealing with a very real live anxiety. Is AI going to make my specialization obsolete? Now, if you just name a fear, you get medium engagement. People are worried, sure. But if you combine that fear with flattering reassurance, like telling them they already have 70% of what they need, you target their identity crisis while actually making them feel empowered. And people who are anxious but reassured, they tend to comment, save, and share at vastly higher rates than people who feel completely neutral. Section 3. Structuring for the scroll. You have to make your posts physically stoppable. So you've hooked them. And you've tapped into their psychology. But if they click see more and are immediately hit with a giant, dense block of text, they're going to bounce. The visual layout of your information is just as important as the information itself. Your ultimate goal is to make the post physically stoppable in a crowded, fast-moving feed. You need short, punchy paragraphs. We're talking 1 to 2 sentences per line, max. Use white space generously. You want to give people a shape to hold on to by using numbered or bulleted frameworks, like 3 steps or 5 mistakes. You can also bold key phrases to guide the eye and use emojis as visual bullets, but use them sparingly, maybe just 1 per section header, so it stays professional but scannable. Finally, always end with a clear, low-effort call to action. Don't just say something vague like, "Let me know your thoughts." Ask a specific binary question like, "Are you doing X or Y?" It prompts easy answers and drives that algorithm-pleasing comment volume. Section 4. Building instant credibility. This is all about avoiding the fluff. Now that we've got a stoppable structure, we need to ensure the actual content builds authority without relying on vague, inspirational fluff. One of the absolute best ways to read as an expert is to use concrete, name-droppable vocabulary. Take the term confused deputy from our AI security case study. When you use real frameworks, real product names, or mint-specific vocabulary, you give commenters something highly specific to react to. They can jump in and say, "Wow, I didn't even know about confused deputy." Plus, posts that popularize specific jargon tend to get quote shared a lot, simply because readers want to repeat those terms to look authoritative themselves. To really compound that credibility, you need to tie that specific vocabulary to recency and to your own personal experience. Citing a recent industry event like the OWASP Agentic Security Initiative immediately signals that your content is cutting edge and deeply relevant. And pairing that with personal experience, that's a massive multiplier. Framing it as, when I transitioned from X to Y, here's what surprised me, will consistently outperform a generic, here's how to transition from X to Y, even if the actual advice you're giving is exactly the same. Personal narratives attached to trending technical topics are just a proven winning combo. Section 5. Translating tactics to YouTube, revealing some universal algorithmic truths. When we pivot over to YouTube, what's truly fascinating is that these mechanics, they're universal. The parallels are actually striking. On LinkedIn, you're fighting tooth and nail for those first 2 lines before the see more truncation. On YouTube, you're fighting for the first 100 to 150 characters of the description before the ... more button. On LinkedIn, you end with a binary self-identification question to drive comment volume and time spent. On YouTube, you drop a specific question prompt near the top or bottom to drive comments, which signals engagement right alongside those ultimate goals of watch time and SEO keyword ranking. The rules of front-loading value apply everywhere. So what does a highly actionable YouTube description framework actually look like based on these rules? Step 1. Front-load the hook and your main keyword. Please do not waste characters on, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. State the value immediately. Step 2. Write the description like you're simply answering the question your video answers, naturally layering in SEO keywords and related terms. Step 3. Add clickable timestamps or chapters. Just like white space and bullets on LinkedIn, timestamps give the YouTube audience a visual shape to hold on to. It lets them skip straight to what they want, which counterintuitively actually improves overall watch time. And step 4. End with one clear, specific engagement prompt. One clear ask is vastly more effective than throwing 3 scattered ones at your viewer. Finally, Section 6, the cost of hype and the balance between attention and accuracy. We're entering the final act of this explainer now, and it's time to address a critical caution flagged across all our source materials. It's about that inherent tension between capturing attention and maintaining your accuracy. Remember this number from our good hook example earlier? IM experts already have 70% of what they need. Well, here's the major caveat. That 70% is a rhetorical, marketing-flavored device. It's not a measured, technical, peer-reviewed statistic. And while punchy, confident framing almost always outperforms hedged, precise language for pure engagement purposes, you have to be really careful. This quote from our YouTube source perfectly encapsulates the danger here. Yes, you can totally use clickbaity hooks or overstate claims to spike your short-term clicks, but there's a massive cost. Overstating claims will eventually cost you credibility and channel trust, especially if you're dealing with expert audiences in technical fields who will absolutely fact-check you. The algorithms themselves, particularly YouTube's, increasingly weigh viewer satisfaction over raw click-through rates. If they click and don't get the actual value you promised, they leave, and your video tanks. A great middle ground is to be bold in your framing and your structure, but stay incredibly precise in your actual substance. Which brings us to our final thought. Are you building a durable reputation, or are you just chasing the next algorithm spike? Mirroring the binary questions we've learned about today, I'm going to leave you with that to consider. True success on these platforms isn't just about hacking the scroll. It's about using these structural and psychological frameworks responsibly to deliver real, tangible value. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you're leaving today with a brand new lens on how to drive real, meaningful conversation.